Both your guys going to go at it. A lot of people who know just see it really as a pick'em fight. How do you feel about it?
I love this fight. You're absolutely right. This is an evenly matched fight. Terence and Viktor, the two best in 140, both undefeated. Terence, the WBO champion. Viktor, the WBC champion. But I think the fight is interesting for even another reason, is because Viktor is the proponent of the Eastern European style. He fights like a disciplined Eastern European fighter, and Terence has become the leading proponent of the African American style, which was introduced by Ray Robinson, and then Ali and Sugar Ray Leonard, and, Mosley and Floyd Mayweather, and it's going to be interesting to see two really top-level fighters, each with one of those styles fighting each other. I can't wait to see it, because I just don't know, when you get two top-level guys, each with a different school of boxing, how that's going to come out.
And Bob, as you mentioned before, the media is saying this fight is 50-50. Boxing fight fans feel the same way. Why is Terence Crawford 6-1 favorite?
Terence Crawford is 6-1 favorite because he's an American, and that until recently, when you match an American fighter, particularly an African American fighter, with an African American style against an Eastern European, the African American had the rhythm and the speed to beat the Eastern European fighter. It's only recently where the Eastern European fighters have been heard from, and they are beginning to dominate, like Triple G, like Kovalov, like Lomachenko. So the question then is, people who follow boxing say, hey, look, these Eastern European guys are tough, and their style is really interesting, and they're disciplined. But the average fan, the average bettor, looks over the decades where the African American style dominated, and they bet accordingly.
According to Ring Magazine, Crawford is ranked number 5 pound for pound on the list. He's becoming an HBO darling. How detrimental could a loss be to Crawford or to Postol?
Well, a loss is never good, particularly when you have an undefeated record and you're a world champion. So a loss not only means that your undefeated record is gone, but your championship is gone. So the stakes are enormous in this fight for either fighter.
Terence is one of the few fighters that switches southpaw to righty very easily, looks natural both ways. You've been in the game a long time. Does he do it the best that you've seen, or do other guys like maybe Marvin and stuff like that?
Well, Marvin did it all the time, but the thing about Terence is he does it so quick that you don't know that he's doing it until you see that he's leading with a different hand. Really, you don't pick up on it right away, and his opponent doesn't. Marvin did it in a more, in a slower manner when he switched up. You knew that he was switching up. You'd see in the ring him changing his feet and so forth. But this kid is a little different. He does it seamlessly during the fight. The only guy I've seen who did it like he did is there was a fighter from Fort Worth. He was terrific for a while, named Donald Curry. And Curry switched very quickly, and that was one of his big strengths.
Mr. Arum, do you feel that Andre, last one?
Yeah, last one.
Do you feel that Andre Ward versus Sergey Kovalev falls under the same aspect of Crawford Postol, the European versus the African American
Yeah,
style?
I think that's what makes Kovalov Ward as interesting a fight as it is the fact that Kovalov has the Eastern European style, and Ward is a tremendous boxer and has the African American style. And I think that you're absolutely right. Ward Kovalov is an extraordinarily interesting fight for that reason, among others.
What would be your assessment of that fight?
What?
Your assessment and how it plays out.
What did you say?
Your assessment of the fight, how do you think it's going to go?
Which fight?
Kovalev Ward.
Kovalev Ward? I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, again, Kovalev is the hard hitter. Ward is the better boxer. That's why people pay their money, because you don't really know. And like this fight with Postol and Terence Crawford, you don't really know. But there is an inherent bias that we all have, having lived through the ascendancy of the African American style, that we tend to go with a fighter that has that style over a more robotic fighter like an Eastern European fighter. So we tend to favor the American fighter, particularly on that when they're both top level. So again, I'm interested in that as a student of boxing. I love to watch something like that, where it's not just one guy against one guy, but it's one guy from a school of fighters against another from another school.
Bob, what guys, they got to get going.
Thank you, Bob.
By what? Got plenty of time.
Okay.
Bob, what do you make of a superstar like John Jones getting caught with a banned substance?
Well, I think that's really sad. I think there's something inherently wrong in the UFC with so many of the UFC fighters getting busted for drugs. I don't know what the reason is. While we do have drug abuse in boxing, it is nowhere near the level that it is on mixed martial law. Nowhere near that level.
Even Nate Diaz, a superstar in the sport, says everyone's on steroids. Maybe that's not accurate,
Who
but
said that?
Nate Diaz.
Well, again, there's truth in a statement like that. Not like everyone,
Right.
but I'm sure that in UFC, in MMA, there is much, much more drug use from the athletes than exists in boxing. In boxing, it's pretty well controlled.
How can John Jones come back from this?
Hey, what the fuck do I know?
Aaron, what do you take to the selling of UFC for $4 billion? Are you
What?
impressed with that? The selling of UFC for $4 billion?
Well, I think that's wonderful. I think that, all people involved in boxing and mixed martial arts, when the UFC gets a price like $4 billion, that, you go to bed at night dreaming of the dollar signs.
Going back into boxing, you were talking about the Eastern European style and the African style, or African American style, my apologies. Who do you think right now is the most dynamic of the Eastern European style fighters? Triple G, Kovalev, who do you have?
Well, I would think that because of knockout power, Triple G, people want to watch. But I think the best fighter, Eastern European fighter, from the standpoint of the best performance, the guy who takes that style and does the most with it, it's clearly Lomachenko.
I hate to mention this one, but what do you take to make Garcia welcoming Lomachenko to the 135-pound division?
Well, again, if Mike Garcia down the road wants to fight Lomachenko and is not going to make it impossible for his purse demand, I give him credit. As Lomachenko's promoter, we are always looking for challenges for Lomachenko, and if Mikey Garcia down the road poses a challenge, all the better.
Do you anticipate Mikey's return just to see what he has left? He's been out for 2
Well,
years.
you know, a guy who's been out 2.5 years, there's a lot of ring rust, no matter how often he's hung out in the gym. So, you know, it's going to be a very interesting fight for Mikey to see if he retains some of the skills that he had in abundance when he was fighting.
Bob, sorry, you're done. There was a time when there was talks about Pacquiao versus Crawford. Do you feel that if Crawford is victorious this Saturday, those talks will resurface?
Well, a lot of the, you know, when you're dealing with Manny Pacquiao, you're not dealing with a normal fighter in the sense that you have a guy who goes to the gym, can lose weight. You have a guy who's a politician, who's a senator, and he's a guy who is looking to, not like Marco Rubio, who never went to the Senate, but a guy who wants to attend every session of the Philippine Senate. There's only 24 senators, so they got a lot of work. So he said that he will not ask leave from the Senate. He will train while the Senate is in session and only fight during recess of the Philippine Senate. So he gave us only 2 dates that were possible this year, the 29th of November and of October and November 5.
How do you?
All right, and the other thing is, he wants to fight for a world title, wants to be a champ. So, can he get down to 140 where he's physically strong while he's going to Senate sessions, where he's not doing the same level of training that he would if he didn't have these duties? Can he get down to 140 and be strong to fight a guy like Crawford or Postol? Or does he say, no, I want to go in at 147 and fight a welterweight champion at 147, in which case a guy like Jesse Vargas would be available for him to fight.
Mr. Arum,
Is he the leading candidate for the fight?
Who?
Jesse Vargas?
There's no leading fucking candidate. I just told you about the weight situation, and Manny is going to have to make the weight. The leading candidate for the fight was Chris Christie, who didn't make it. He's checking coats at the arena in Cleveland.
Let's talk about Jesse Vargas. You know, he signed his contract. He signed his part of the deal to fight Kell Brook, and the fight obviously broke through because Brook
Now,
got
why did it happen? Why did the Kell Brook fight Jesse Vargas happen? Because you read the fucking newspapers, right? The English decided to pull out of the European Union. The pound went down 20%. So all Eddie Hearn's plans to pay Vargas, to pay Brooks, would now took it in the ass because the pound wasn't worth what it was when he made the deal. At the same time, he was looking to make a Eubank-Golovkin fight. And Eubank was acting squirrely. He wanted the ability to say who was on the undercard, what the ticket prices were. It wasn't his business. He was getting paid by Eddie Hearn. So while this was going on, Kell Brook says, you know what? I'll take the money you offered Eubank, and I'll go in with Triple G, and that's how that fight was made. There's nothing wrong with that. You got to admire Kell Brook's balls, because, I mean, most middleweights won't go in with Golovkin, and here's this welterweight who's going in with him. And believe me, I've done enough boxing over the years with Jose Nopolis and Monzon. I did that fight. I did fights, welterweights and middleweights. The result is generally the same. The welterweight tries and he gets the shit kicked out of him. Same thing's going to happen to Kell Brook. But you got to give him credit.
You said that there's no leading candidate for the Pacquiao fight, but obviously Jesse is a name that's there. Do you keep him on ice waiting to see if that could manifest itself, or do you try to get him a fight?
It's 1 week. It's 1 week. So if he has an opportunity to fight Manny, why wouldn't he wait 1 week? We're going to make a decision in the week after July 23rd.